Madam President, I come here today in a sad time. As I speak in about right now in Montana, a funeral is beginning for one Jason Baker. Jason, originally from Fort Benton, Montana, which is a town right down the road from where I live in Big Sandy. Jason was a firefighter. Jason passed away February 20th, early in the morning. Far, far, far too young at the age of 45. He had been a firefighter for 16 years with Great Falls Fire and Rescue, an incredibly talented and incredibly professional, and somebody who loved being a firefighter. He's somebody that throughout his life, public service, whether it was helping out kids or helping out adults, helping out communities, it was part of who he was as a person. Jason was also married to my wife's cousin, Jill. They had two children, Peyton and Porter, who hearts have to be aching. This day is a day that I am sure that they had to plan for the last 3 or so years after his diagnosis of stage 4 lung cancer. I guess it was 2 years ago. I've got a number of memories of Jason from my days in the state legislature when he showed up as a relatively young firefighter to my days as a United States Senator when he showed up to my offices here in Washington, D.C. to advocate for firefighter issues. But more importantly than all that, Jason was a friend. And he happened to also be a relative. He's somebody that when his wife's grandfather passed away, Reinhold Bitz, and they had the funeral up in Havre, he was at the height of who he was as a human being. He wasn't sick, hadn't been diagnosed with anything. He was just vibrant and full of life. And cancer being the disease that it is, was a struggle for him, as it is with anybody who gets it. He's somebody who fought that disease bravely and proudly. But in the end, it took him. It took him last Wednesday morning, early in the morning. We were driving into Great Falls, and my wife sent a little message to Jill saying our hearts are with him because we knew Jason wasn't good. She sent back a text with hearts. And that was it. He had already passed. In the end, though, as I think back on Jason's life, there's some lyrics to a song that say, "Only the good die young." And it could not be any more true than with Jason Baker. If the world was full of Jason Bakers, this would be a better world. But life happens. You got to get through it. And I'm sure that Jill and Peyton and Porter will think back and remember their dad proudly as he served proudly as a firefighter, as a public servant, somebody who ran into danger while other people were running away from it. So as they proceed with the ceremony today in Montana, and it is happening as I speak right now, just know, Jill, Peyton, Porter, all the firefighters that are there, that we're very proud of your dad and the service and what he fought for. There was a bill in the Montana legislature 2 years ago on presumptive illness for firefighters. I do not believe Jason would have contracted cancer if not for his job, if not for the kind of fumes he breathed in protecting neighborhoods and families. And I think it's only right that when people sacrifice for their communities that we sacrifice for them. The legislature 2 years ago did not pass that presumptive illness bill. I think they made a mistake then. When I gave my speech to the House of Representatives of the Montana legislature, one of the points I made in that speech is they need to pass the presumptive health care for firefighters. Jason was alive when I gave that speech, and now he's passed. I think in memory of Jason Baker, at the very least, the Montana legislature can pass that bill. I understand it's passed one of the houses, but it hasn't passed both of them. If it passes both houses, I know Governor Bullock will sign that bill. So with that, we bid adieu to a great American, a great community man, somebody who literally gave it all for his country and his state and his town. We'll miss you, Jason Baker. I yield the floor.